Michael Jackson there for you, the late Michael Jackson, of course. But I'm sure when you hear his music, you always remember the good old days. But we hope that that adage runs out, because that good old days thing doesn't sound too good. But anyway, good morning to you, and thank you for allowing us into your homes on a beautiful Thursday morning, gradually going into the weekend. It's 25th April 2018. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning. The good old days, what?
You know, that adage doesn't sit so well, because I would want to actually say, in my time, it was better than the good old days. And so if we keep referring to the good old days, it certainly means we're not doing things right.
Well, I mean, it may not say, I mean, if you cast your mind back to, we're throwing back today, but if you cast your mind back to 10 years from now, ago, you know, some of the things that used to happen don't happen anymore. Right. And you're wondering if progress or modernization has really helped us in any way. I mean,
I agree.
Look, tramadol is all over the place now. Back in the day, I mean, people would just do a bit of their akpateshie and their secret, but now it's gone a notch higher.
We actually even lived longer. So even now that we're finding ways of trying to live longer, we're also finding ways of killing ourselves faster. And so I wonder who will be left, even though Ghana is adding on their population every time. I guess many more will also go out of it because of, you know, the side effects of abusing tramadol and many other hard drugs as it is. But again, people have been selling off children, and the news seems to be right.
It's not just people, Amma, it's the social welfare people.
And
two of their staff.
Worrying. Johnny, I mean, because we've heard so many stories. The story of the accounts that is in question bothers me, because many girls are in such situations and they go to hospitals and maybe genuinely their children die. But when you don't have, you know, the privilege of being told how your child died, what caused your child to die, or even where your child is buried, that raises questions. Because I, for one, I mean, in our medical practice, we will let you see the child because we understand, and, you know, paying the last respect to the dead body, and that kind of closure it gives you psychologically. Once you see the person or the you know, child who died, it gives you that closure that you did everything you could, and you brought someone to life, and God has taken the person. But when you don't get that closure, it causes a lot of psychological trauma.
I'm thinking the kind of training these people get before they get into social work. Elsewhere, social work is a big deal. And I've always had a problem with, for example, our SNIT. It says Social Security National Insurance Trust. Is this socially secure? SNIT is relegated to the pensioners portion, where you only get to feel the essence of SNIT when you are going on pension or when you're on pension, which mustn't be so. I mean, it has a lot of things. The National Pensions Authority is there, but SNIT itself must do more. So when you have the social welfare, one, they don't have the shelters. Two, the first time they hear about requests for money from state, it's for renovation. Three, now you're selling off people's children. So can I trust you if I found a kid loitering around? Can I trust you? I want to bring the kid to you.
Certainly not. I mean, unfortunately, when we say these things, there are good people in it who have gone through the rigorous training, actually have the certificates, and are not willing to be in service because the social welfare agencies are not really supportive in Ghana.
Up until 2 days ago, I hadn't heard anything like that. I've actually heard stories of children found, taken to the police station, taken to social welfare, and taken care of. Sometimes the adoption process is properly done, and all of that. Why would you sell somebody's child? Why? What's wrong with you? Do you know what it takes to produce a child?
I have no idea. And I mean, there was a female in there, and that is very worrying, because when the mothers of the nation decide to, you know, indulge in these things, no offense to the men, but of course, because they don't even go through the childbearing process, maybe they don't really have the impact of what it feels to have a child. But when you're a woman and you indulge in these, I wonder what kind of thing goes through your mind. Because if it was you, how would you feel?
How would you feel?
After 9 months of laboring and giving birth to a child who's healthy, and then you come and tell me all manner of things to sell.
Imagine anyway, if AJ had been sold and not given to his, you know, mother. Mommy,
but we have to still ask her whether she.
AJ's I've seen AJ's mom and
adoption still.
He doesn't need a DNA test to prove that he's his mother's.
Great.
Have you seen my mom?
Yeah, Mommy HO.
But she's on Facebook. I mean,
exactly. Is on Facebook. Anyway. I mean, if you had been sold, I don't know.
She always tells me, well,
you don't want to give that out.
I can't say all of that. But, well, it's time for news for this morning. Good morning to you once again. My name is Anthony Jackson and this is Morning News on New Day. Now, the Accra High Court hearing the case involving the murder of Major Maxwell Mahama has completed the selection of a jury. Selom Amenya was in court and has filed the following report.
Members of the 7-member panel jury were sworn in after their selection. They are expected to hear the evidence which will be put before court and pass judgment on the case. The court was left with one person to complete a 7-member panel for the Major Maxwell Mahama murder trial to commence. 3 individuals were nominated to complete the 7-member panel during sitting on April 16. However, the last person to be picked objected to her inclusion after she was approved by the accused persons. She did not give any reason despite having been asked by the judge. Major Maxwell Adam Mahama was lynched by some residents of Dencho Boase in the Upper West Dencho district of the Central Region in May 2017.
Now, scores of Uber drivers marched up at the offices of Uber in Accra on Wednesday, April 25. The drivers, who are on a sit-down strike, are protesting against what they say is unfair treatment by the transport services company. According to the drivers, the 25% retention of all transport fares remitted to Uber is rendering the businesses unprofitable. Uber has been operating in Ghana for about a year now. Its relatively improved services have led to most commercial transport users resorting to it at the expense of local taxis. The allegations of non-payment of taxes have been rife among the taxi drivers as well as Uber drivers for some time now. The Transport Ministry and the GRA are, however, yet to bring finality to the matter. Officials of Uber are yet to make any formal comments on the latest concerns of the Uber drivers. Another University of Professional Studies is to be renamed after its founder and its first director, Nana Opoku Ampoma. President Akufo-Addo made this disclosure at a special congregation at the university to confer honorary doctorate degrees on the founder of the university and the Confederation of African Football President, Ahmad Ahmad.
The president announced the University of Professional Studies Board has decided to rename the institution after its founder and first director, Nana Opoku Ampoma.
It is a most excellent decision, which has received the approval of the President of the Republic. So that once the parliamentary process has been completed, this university will be called thenceforth the Opoku Ampoma University of Professional Studies.
President Akufo-Addo indicated reforms will soon be carried out in the accreditation processes in tertiary institutions to ensure fairness and equity.
The ministry will shortly begin implementing recommendations that will reform university accreditation and affiliation policies in order to introduce equity and fairness in the establishment of public and private universities.
The president said government is committed to establishing a research fund to improve education in the country.
We shall promote curriculum development to meet the skills and human resource demands of industry, create opportunities for work and study, and make training in entrepreneurship a cardinal component of the school system.
A doctorate of business honoris causa was conferred on Nana Opoku Ampoma, founder and first director of the university, for its contribution to improving education in the country. CAF President and FIFA Vice President Ahmad Ahmad was also conferred a doctorate of law honoris causa for his contribution to promoting football on the African continent.
Another Vice President has tasked the National Pensions Regulatory Authority to harmonize all pension schemes in the country. According to Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, the duplication of these schemes is a drain on national coffers, which could lead to the collapse of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT. He was speaking at a forum in Accra to discuss the need to unify all pension schemes in the public sector.
Figures from the National Pensions Regulatory Authority indicate that 77,000 retirees receive monthly allowances from Cap 30 pension scheme, which was introduced in 1960. The security services and some staff within the public service also benefit from Cap 30. Currently, government has to release over 900 million cedis to pay these retirees, whose average annual benefit amount is estimated at 11,500 cedis. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia said the figure could increase this year.
How can those who make no direct contribution to their retirement earn more in pension benefits than those who make direct contributions to their retirement through payroll deductions? There is good reason why more people under the non-contributory schemes are tempted to opt for early retirement. Of course, they are better off in retirement than the average worker.
Institutions such as the University of Ghana are also another pension scheme which put a strain on government purse. The NPRA has rolled out a host of initiatives to harmonize all pension schemes in order to guarantee their sustainability. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia underscored the urgency in harmonizing all pension schemes.
The continuing existence of non-contributory schemes contradicts the provisions of Act 766, which call for unification. This must change to ensure social equity.
Sector Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafuewa, implored the NPRA to create other pension schemes for informal sector workers.
It should be possible for taxi drivers in Ghana to be rolled onto a pension scheme. It should be possible to get cocoa farmers on board the pension scheme. There are so many trade associations, Hairdressers Association, Tailors Association, Ghana Association of Garages, and what have you. These are all groups we can start engaging to see the possibility of bringing them on board the pension schemes.
Stakeholders agreed that pension contributions could be leveraged to improve on infrastructure in the country.
And on the founder and 2016 flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papakwesi Indum, has expressed disappointment over government's inability to ensure the elections of MMDCEs within 24 months of elections into office. Dr. Indum cautioned further delays would derail the socio-economic development of the country.
The New Patriotic Party NPP pledged in its manifesto to oversee the direct election of Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives, MMDCEs, within 24 months of election into office. President Akufo-Addo in February this year proposed that a referendum for the election of MMDCEs should take place concurrently with the District Assembly elections next year. However, procedures leading up to the referendum have not been triggered, casting doubts over its possibility till 2021. The flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papakwesi Indum, expressed disappointment over the delay.
Yes, you say it will happen, but we want it to happen quickly. If the president, as he always says, that he is a man in a hurry, we are saying to him, this is one policy that, when implemented, will hurry development along.
He implored the president to make the process all-inclusive.
If care is not taken, the implementation of this might be perceived as something that is only for MPP, and therefore becomes an MPP matter. If it's seen as only an MPP matter, this thing won't happen. So we want the involvement of other people, including the Progressive People's Party.
Now, it has been a year, 4 months since the New Patriotic Party came into office, but there is no doubt the party won the 2016 elections largely on account of the many initiatives and promises. But the government has missed out on a lot of deadlines it set out to roll some of the projects. TV3 takes a look at these projects and their implementation stages.
In the 2016 elections, many promises were made from both the major political parties as well as smaller ones. Notable among these campaign messages were the free SHS campaign promised by the then candidate Nana Addo Dankwa, flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party and now the President of Ghana, as against the progressively free SHS promised by the John Dramani Mahama administration. Having won the elections in 2016 and with more than 1 year since coming into office of the New Patriotic Party, the government has come under intense pressure to deliver on its campaign promises. Among the promises made either before or coming into office or whilst in government include the One Village, One Dam projects for all 3 regions of the north to boost agriculture, the $1 million per constituency every year, the One District, One Factory, and the promise by the party to issue a national identification card or the Ghana card in the first year. Other promises include the creation of jobs, the establishment of the Zongo Development Fund, the affordable housing for all, and the development of intercontinental roads, railways, port and harbour system. There is enough evidence to show that the government has missed a number of deadlines it set out for the rollout of these projects. But the government's spokesperson on infrastructure, Richard Asante-Yeboah, thinks otherwise.
Our administration hasn't come to an end. We are still within our time. We have 4 years to deliver. And so if within the first 15 months of the government being in power, a promise has been made and is being delivered on, I think we need to applaud this government.
The main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, has begun expressing misgivings about the ability of the NPP to deliver on the many campaign promises. The former Vice President, Emisa Arthur, early this year, sarcastically tasked the party to fulfill all 170 promises.
They have made 170 promises. They have to make sure that all those 170 promises are fulfilled.
When it comes to specific projects, government says some may need legislative instruments.
Remember 2017, the funds were not transferred because the laws that would govern the authorities for it to be feasible for the funds to be transferred were not in place. So this year, the 2 tranches have been transferred to the various constituencies through the various development authorities.
The election of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives was one major campaign promise by the president. But the local government minister recently admitted the election of MMDCEs could only be done in 2021.
Definitely, we have to go through the various amendments. And the various amendments, like I've just indicated, to do a referendum.
The government, apart from the missed deadlines, has however been able to meet quite a number of the promises. Among them are the restoration of nurses' allowance, the implementation of the free senior high school, although the scheme is bedeviled with some challenges, and the establishment of the 3 development authorities. The government is also looking forward to roll out additional policies. Among them are the 1 ambulance per constituency, the distribution of drugs and blood by drones, and the launch of the Nation Builders Corps on the 1st of May 2018. The question on the lips of many, however, is whether government can finance all these projects.
NEWDAY returns after the break.
So let's do headlines now. We'll start off with Today newspaper. It says election of MMDCEs now. NDC also clamors for Mahama's return. Then also CSSPS unveils new guidelines for placement of SHS candidates. And these are the stories carried by Today, Truth and Enlightenment. Then the next newspaper, we have Daily Statement. It says we must be focused. That's coming from the MPP regional treasurer. Also, confusion rocks NDC elections. Executives, MPs exchange blows. Party folks have abandoned the process. Then also, finally, the president says hooligans must be held for acts of political thuggery. Then Daily Heritage says jury finally empaneled for Major Mahama trial. Also, brouhaha in banking industry. Blame government for collapse of banks, says Ghana Association of Bankers. And then finally, a man runs to Akufo-Addo for retrieval of his car. Then BNFT says agri sector more crucial than ever. That's coming from the minister. Also, housing crisis deepens and there is nowhere to go. Bank's failure, says poor corporate governance is to blame. And then Republic Bank launches officially. And these are the stories carried on the front papers of the ones we have as of this morning.
Interesting stories there.
Interesting.
I'm looking at the election of the MMDCs. It was a campaign promise.
It was, and it's
by
been a long time coming.
Well, we would get that. But I heard the Minister for Local Government, Aji Alima Mahama, say that it's not possible. And we may have to do that in 2020 or 2021. I was always under the impression that we're going to take the legislative documents to Parliament. So Parliament's able to work at it, and we have the legal framework too. But now we're being told that it's not possible. And on the back of the fact that somewhere in Gomwa, we had the local assembly spent 81,000 just to bury a dead DC. It beats my imagination.
I agree.
It's that same Gomwa where children are not able to go to school. Same Gomwa where roads are bad. Same Gomwa where pregnant women go to deliver and they lose their lives. Same Gomwa where all these myriad of issues are. We spent 81,000 Ghana cedis just for a funeral, and we're told that it's because the ministers and other dignitaries, government functionaries were present. And so what?
I agree.
And so what? Do we glorify the dead more than the living? And so what?
Johnny,
so if we had elected the leadership there at that district assembly, you think that if they knew that they were accountable and that their lifespan in office was tied to an election and the people will come demanding for accountability, they would do that? For now, we do know that the DCs are appointed by the president, and they report to the president, not to the people they serve. So they decide to do whatever they want to do, because if the president is happy with them, they are happy, which is why they would want to spend money, because government functionaries are attending the thing, so people will give testimonials about them. That's low thinking.
I agree, Johnny, and I'm disappointed that the MMDCE's election hasn't taken place, particularly because we knew how much decentralization we need as a country as of now, because people, like you rightly said, when the president appoints and the person doesn't feel accountable to the people he serves. But we thought when we move away from that and we actually do elect, it can help us in our governance structure and, you know, take away some of the corruption practices even at the basic level and allow some development in these areas. But it hasn't happened, and I don't know if we have to remind the government that this is a promise they made. I'm not happy when Haji Alima Mahama comes to say that the legislative documents that have to follow it we're not taking, they haven't been able to be approved and all that, because you knew, and that is what you stood on to ask us to vote for you, to believe in what you were going to do. And so it's one of the critical things that has to happen. And I think government has to critically look at it now, not moving it to 2020. I think it has to be done latest by the end of this year. We still have quite a number of months. The things that we've been able to rush in Parliament, I feel this could have been one of those. And so they should look at it critically for us, because it will help everybody decentralize and make the governance better.
I think that, look, and my argument has always been that the local governance structure is very beautiful.
It is.
If we make it work, we will be happy.
Everyone will benefit.
We will not have to run to central government to do everything.
For every
I would be surprised that the folks at Gomwa who have spent 81,000 to organize a funeral will now tell the press and say government should come to our aid because we are looking for 40 beds to add on to the district hospital. I won't be surprised that a year from now we would have that call, whereas 81,000 could have actually provided those beds and in excess of that particular number. So it is prioritization. But then you see the legal framework that sets up the funding, the district assembly's common fund. It doesn't say what they should use the money for. It only tells you what allocation the people must have. But how they must use the money, nobody cares. It's just like you going to school and your father gives you pocket money. It doesn't instruct you what you use your money for. You get to school, you're spoiled for choice. There's food, there's drinks, there are candies and everything, cookies. So you decide what you use your money for. It's for snack. So you use it for. And that's the same way we treat the district assemblies or the local government structure. But if we had a clear cut, because aside that, they are internally generated funds are also there at your disposal. So they are getting money from central government, and they're able to generate a lot from within. So they have so much money, fiscal cash, liquid cash,
which is not being accounted for,
and they don't use it properly. Right. I dare say, look, most of them, it's just a handful out of the 216 districts that use their money judiciously. Most of them just toss it around. And I'm told that even in some districts, towards the weekend, they share money, literally. So, honorable, not say Obeko a year weekend in TG 3,000. So they give the DC 3,000. This one takes. As soon as they give you 3,000, the other officers will take some. Now,
if we're all working,
where does that money? Where does that money come from? Who is accounting for it? And yet, every day we'll go to the people, ask them business operation permit, market tolls, this, that. We keep collecting the very little that the people have, which they're supposed to use to take care of themselves. They trust you and the system and give the money to you. And what do you do with it? 81,000.
You know, it all comes back to the supervisory role.
Is that
it all comes back to the supervisory role, because even when the MMDCEs come into place, and I mean, you know how in Ghana, oftentimes when you're posted to a particular place, you have to, even when you go with a good intention, you are seemingly rolled out into what practice exists there. You're transformed into with a renewal of your mind and spirit. You know, so it's not as easy as it seems. I'm looking at more of the supervisory roles that government or parliament has over these MMDCEs and district assemblies, because at the end of the day, if we don't supervise what they do, then everyone feels it's, you know, free looty, we can just have it and share and life goes on as usual. Because trust me, I'm sure people went there with good intentions to try and secure and safeguard these monies that they get internally, but it hasn't been done over the years. Very few districts can actually account for these monies and what they have done with it consecutively, judiciously.
I don't think that we should go as far as parliament. I think that the local government structure, the DC or the municipal chief executive sits at the top, but he has a team that he works with.
He does.
There's a unit committee and all that. How inclusive or how included are they in the governance of the district? How included are they?
In the structure, they're supposed to be, if you sit on top, but they don't involve themselves.
Go into any community, and the first person they want to attack is the assemblyman. But the assemblyman is not alone. He belongs to a team. Okay? The others who vie for election, our votes are cast in their names, that they will be part of the management of the district. What happens to them? Under every district, there are sub-metros. What happens in that direction? So we need to start making the systems work. I mean, I remember that before we got 216, we had a reduced number. I think a little over 100 number of districts. Same thing with the number of constituencies we have had. Then you're wondering, we keep creating more and we are not getting results for it, and we are intending to create more problems for ourselves. How? How does it add? To the extent that you have district chief executives who tell you that, oh, we didn't know that this particular school, they didn't have desks, and so now that you have reported, we will make sure that we'll go there. We didn't know that this hospital, they didn't have syringes, so now that TV3 has reported, we are getting... what was that? In the meantime, you're supposed to have a sub-metro person who takes a monthly or weekly report to the district office. So do they read the reports, or has the report just become the regular yellow table, white paper thing? So you're supposed to present the report. So you copy, you give me, I take it, I file it. That's all. Business as usual. The reports are there for a purpose.
Declaration of assets.
81,000.
Yep, it is. But guys, it's time for us to rant. We've spoken a lot. Let's see what you also have to say.
Shame on you.
Shame on the ranters.
Shame on you if you spent 81,000 cedis on a funeral and you are proud to have said, shame on you. Shame.
Well,
shame.
The problem is, after you've even shamed them, they've already used the money, so it doesn't come back.
No,
that's the problem
but they should be ashamed.
They will do it and they won't be punished. And so it's business as usual.
And not want to repeat that. Because, see, I get hurt when I go out for Community Connect, and I see children who are supposed to be protected by the society, and they have nothing at all. No desks. They don't have textbooks to read from, and they're going to sit with the same exam with children in those, exalted schools, Alcid Academy and all of that. So then you're wondering, I mean, if you had attended Saito, Cyto like me.
Anyway, guys, let's rant. We're still talking about tramadol use and its effects, the abuse of it. Yesterday, Johnny showed us the various, effects of the body from head to toe. It touches every part of the body, but people don't seem to be perturbed by this. So let's step out on the street.
We're focusing on just tramadol. I heard that there's codeine.
That's everything.
I heard that there's energy drink that comes along. I heard that there's Indian hemp that comes along. I heard that there's cough syrup that comes along. So they mix 5 or 6 things together and they drink it. And we are watching.
Yeah.
George is out there on the street.
If you have, let's say, headache or stomach ache, the last resort to end the pain is the pharmacy aside the clinic. And here at the pharmacy, some painkillers to get is F-Pack, paracetamol, and tramadol. But it will amaze you the extent of abuse of tramadol amongst the youth. And according to some medical experts, it functions as heroin in the body and causes psychotic problems and also damages some vital organs in the body. But the question is, do people that abuse this drug know about the side effects of the drug, and also how can we end this canker? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
When a friend abuses tramadol that I've read and know the side effects of it, I'll feel bad because it's even more addictive than cocaine.
Yeah, like heroin.
Yes, and a friend will tell you when he takes that he can learn for 12 hours and at the end of it he can't sleep, he cannot even eat. I'll feel bad. So it's not something I'll approve for a friend to be taking it.
A friend of mine who had a game. You understand? If I say a game, you understand.
People are smart.
Yes. So the lady coming, he has to perform over. You see, otherwise. Yes. Otherwise, his nose you see is back. So my friend was recommended to. A friend called him and said, "Charlie, this medicine tramadol, you find wow." I said, "Eh." So go buy 100 milligrams too.
That's so, like 2 boxes.
Like 2 boxes where you mix, where you drink. That day he said, God, where this medicine go hide? Because he overworked and overperformed. But he said, oh, he went, he did well. Oh yes, go on. The guy called him and said, hey, dear, why you juma? Send a catch him in the yes. You see, he took his 3 points. On a more serious note, he said after he took the thing and after he did whatever he wants to do, to take a what to even open his freezer became a problem because he was so weak. He was his heart was beating faster. Drownness. He was like whenever he stand up to do something, he wants to fall. A lot of things happened to him. So he advised himself, oh, even though the productivity was high, but the long-term effects also affected my performance. So I think that for me, I think it's not something that we should overuse it, since it's something like a doctor has to prescribe it for you. Okay.
Have you tried it before?
No.
But tramadol is a painkiller. Let's get this fact. Yes. Let's get this fact right. It's a painkiller. It's good. It's not illegal. It's good. But the abuse is what we are talking about.
You see, normally it's a painkiller, but I've never used it before. Before I realized that tramadol is a painkiller, the result that I'm hearing is too much. So normally if I go to drugstore, I need a painkiller. I go to Para, I don't talk of tramadol. At all.
No, you can't tell the one on the counter that okay, I don't like tramadol, but it's prescription. If I'm supposed to give you tramadol, you can't say you don't like it.
In this case, there's no prescription. I say, well, I have a headache. I need a painkiller.
So it means that we should just avoid that, we telling pharmacists to give us this specific medicine then.
Yes. So why do you have to go to the pharmaceutical shop and be specific that I need this medicine? No, it is wrong. But that is what is happening in our society now, basically for business purposes. People need money. They don't care whether the thing is bad or good, they just want to sell it out. And it is a very bad practice. And sometimes you wonder who is in charge.
Yeah.
You see, we live in a nation where something happens and then we wake up suddenly. It shouldn't be so. I wouldn't be in a position to recommend tramadol to a friend. No, it is very bad.
But the abuse is what you
That is it. Yeah. That is it. And then even if it is a painkiller, why do you need it? It's a specific painkiller for specific situations. Okay. There are a lot of most of our colleagues in the ghettos now who are very well, but they take it. There is nothing showing that they are in pain. But then they abuse it and they mix it with all manner of drugs, and the effect, I'm telling you, is very wild.
But drugs like cocaine, heroin, and marijuana, They are illegal.
Yes.
And if it can function as heroin in my body, I'll do it. Because that is not illegal, it's legal. But just like the abuse is what we are talking about. So if I can use like heroin in my system, I think I'll go for it.
Yes, the point is, you see, fine. People opt for cocaine. People not take so many drugs to get high. You understand? Somebody, because he wants to get high, he wants to go for tramadol to get high. You understand? They say something called nodding. Yes, because I want to feel good within myself for a period of time. I opt for something that probably I will not spend much, but I will get whatever I want to get. You understand? So I think, I believe that people use it for various reasons. You understand? Me, if I will require tramadol, if I want to require tramadol, I will recommend it for laborers, because you want to work. You understand? You want to dig and work.
Even market women use tramadol.
Of course.
If you are saying you are doing it on purpose, the side effects. The last time when I checked the side effects, you know, it's caused fatigue, diarrhea and those stuff. So at the end of the day, when you take in the tramadol and the side effects try to show up again, you are going to use another money to buy a drug to treat it.
That's if
you get it.
Do you know that?
They don't know.
You see, the point is, there are different types of tramadol, right? And
well, you're a pharmacist. I think you know more than I do.
Oh no, you know, we live in a community whereby when you talk to the ghetto, they tell you that, oh, when you take this particular drug, maybe 50 milligram, maybe you can run well, you can do other stuffs. You understand? When you take this, even if you are being beaten by 100 people, you don't feel it.
Look at this. The recommended dosage is 50 mg, or let's say extreme 100 mg. And let's say here is me, I go to the counter, I want, let's say, 400 mg. Doesn't it raise eyebrows? Why would you sell that to me? Because that will exceed the recommended dosage.
It is purely for business. You don't care whether you are buying 50, 100 or whatever. Even if it is 5,000, they are okay. The drugs are in the shop purposely to be sold out. So once you come and there is nothing like prescription. You've come straightforward buying and they are selling for you, which is very bad. And then nobody seems to care. That is the issue. I'm telling you, listen, we live in a community, Nima for instance. When you go into the ghettos, you'll be amazed. The level of abuse of tramadol.
People not caring. I know FDA is trying to widen its net to, you know, fight the abuse. At least they care, don't they?
Widen which net? These are all cliché stories that we hear. But I've never heard or seen any official from FDA in Nima, Mamobi or whatever doing any, you know.
Now, Solomon, when you limit the thing, you see, when you limit to like Nima, Mamobi or Choco, you understand, you because the drug itself, the drug itself is the database, or you will go to our universities, they take it more than even the ghettos people, because they can read it, they can read. Those who can read, and we know that they are, yes, we know that, oh, these people are enlightened. They've been using it for their academic purposes and things like that.
Let me some know, but you see,
when a ghetto person says you use it and then go around like 5 hours.
He is trying to say
a lady for 5 hours.
No, he is fighting for how he will go 5 hours. If actually he know the side effect, he will not go for 5 hours.
And then, how am I convinced
because
that even if they know the side effect, they will not stop abusing it?
The point is that people who are addicted to cocaine, heroin, they know that the side effect is you become a junkie. But yes, still.
Okay, Occupy Ghana wants government to take swift action. And for me, I would say parents shouldn't send their children to go and buy tramadol. That is according to me. I don't know what you guys think would help in, you know, curbing that menace.
When you say cheddar, are you talking about minors or what?
Let's say minors, yeah.
All right? For minors, I will support you. But then somebody above the age of 18 and stuff, you can't control that person. So it must be checked from the Pharmaceutical Association. That whoever wants to buy tramadol should come with a prescription from a qualified hospital. That will help a way out, you know. But, you know, like I said, the money issue, they're not confused. They will always get their way out. They will always get their way out, I'm telling you.
You know, we cannot take tramadol out. But to me, FDA has to be up and doing. FDA must be up and doing. And the education should be more. The education must be more. The side effect is very, very serious. It's something that, I don't know. When I read, and students from Legon are abusing it. And you know the nickname for it? It's tram. Yeah, tram. That is what they do. And students can take that and learn for 12 hours, the whole of the night.
Why learning?
Yes.
I think we waited for this to come to us.
It's all boiled down to the FDA. The education was not there.
FDA.
Yes, FDA should educate the people.
There are Tribi Keke drinks, Fabi Keke drinks. There are all manner of jeans on the market. They are not checking that.
But if our taxpayers' money are being paid to workers there, then they must be up in doing.
Like the way my brother is saying, if education is no more, within 5 years, but I'm for a best because I'm for lungs best. I'm for kidney best. Now, but I'm for the bed also because I say we unama boys word. Because on you be bon komo. Na so be come to details no. Na esa ma no. Be ma we say be o to ya misi ya pa. Open baby. Obo say na say boy we okwa no. Obi ntiase. Tramadol.
Stakeholders in the health sector, rise up. That is what the public wants you guys to do. Let's end the tramadol abuse. Let's know what you also think watching home. Log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter, it's the News TV3. With sample thoughts of some residents here at Nima here in Accra. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
Welcome back and thank you very much. The Daily Guard reports this morning that Peace Council indicts NDC. 2 social welfare workers sell baby at 16,500. It comes with a photograph of Evelyn Jemima Alengia and Samuel Obing Ifriye, who are the suspects in this matter. Mahama killer's trial begins with 7-member jury and 2 Nigerian robbers busted. That's the Daily Guard. The statement this morning reports that confusion is rocking the NDC's elections as executive MPs exchange blows. Party folks abandon process and we must be focused. MPP Regional Treasurer says so. Hooligans must be held for acts of political thuggery. President says. The Business Finder says remittances Ghana bags $2.2 billion, places second in sub-Saharan Africa. And today newspaper says election of MMDC is now. Dr. Indum is calling on to government to implement his campaign promise, and NDC clamors for Mohammed's return, and CSSPS unveils new guidelines for placement of SHS candidates. The Daily Heritage says blame governments for collapse of banks, says Ghana Banking Association. And we will set up research fund, President says at UPSA congregation, and 6 armed robbers jailed, 118 years altogether. Nowhere to go. Housing crisis deepens. If you're a young man, I'm sure you play by the story. But Dr. Mawia Zakaria is my guest this morning. He speaks on behalf of the NDC. Doc, welcome. Good morning. How are you doing?
Morning. Thank you.
And also Richard. Your boy is here. Richard, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Everything okay with you? Great. Let's start off. I want us to talk about the social welfare issue because it's dear to my heart, and I picked the indication that it's dear to you as well. 2 social welfare workers selling a baby for 16,500. I'll read a story. The anti-human trafficking police in Kumasi have held 2 social welfare workers, Samuel Obingefree and Evelyn Jemima Alengia, for questioning over allegation of faking the death of a day-old baby and selling her for 16,500. Investigators are looking into how the civil servants use their positions of trust to dupe a young woman from Laura in the Upper East region in order to make money. Samuel Obingefree, a Justice Administration officer, and his female colleague, Evelyn Jemima Aligia, a probation officer at the Department of Social Welfare in the Ashanti region capital, were said to be helping the baby's mother following an assistance she sought from the department last year. DSP Juliana Obing, Public Relations Officer of the Ashanti Region Police Command, said that was after the woman's boyfriend had abandoned her during the pregnancy. Doc, interesting that you've worked within this sector before. The people we trust with our lives are now the ones that are selling us out. What does this say to you?
Yeah, good morning to the viewers and good morning to your good self and all. You know, it's a really worrying development, but it's not a new development. Okay, if you have been interested and followed the issues of adoption and also the issues of how deliveries are monitored at our health facilities, you have every cause concern, to be concerned about some of these happenings, and you will definitely, not be surprised that these things are happening, even though it's quite a serious matter.
Right.
So if you look at it two prongs. First of all, I see that the report is incomplete because it's talking just about the aspect of the social workers who are involved in the processes, and we are talking about a day-old baby. It clearly shows that this delivery must have taken place in a health facility. Okay, so it means that there are two bodies involved: the Ministry of Health and then the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. And these two ministries need to collaborate effectively to get to the root of this particular problem. Now, if you take the Ministry of Health, what has to be done? There's a need for serious oversight, both by management of health facilities and by the management of our total healthcare delivery system. And by the management of healthcare delivery system, I'm referring to the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health. The interest of these institutions in ensuring that the things that happen in our facilities are properly monitored and they follow the international standards to just be sure that nobody takes advantage of the vulnerability of mothers to just sell out their babies. I would like to draw attention to a particular incident that has occurred, which I'm personally following.
Talk to me about it.
Yes, I received a call from my auntie complaining to me about my cousin whose wife was pregnant and had been undergoing antenatal at the Legon Hospital. It's a matter I'm urging you as media and myself and my group will be pursuing this matter to its conclusion. However, just to give you a gist of what happened, this woman was pregnant and the scans, everything showed that there were twins. Even the pre-delivery scan was conducted and the father was seated. And you actually saw heartbeats too, saw heads too, everything too. In fact, the indication for the CS was that, these twins, where one of them was crossed, when they are lying on the cross, kind of, you understand? So, they call it breached, fetus. So then this called for an indication for CS. Then they went and they asked the father to go and get things back. By the time he returned, they handed over a single baby to him, claiming that the scans, 5 good scans, consistent of twins, claiming that these scans were wrong.
So where's the other baby?
They said the scans were wrong and that it was just one fetus that they found when they opened up the woman. So I'm telling you, this is at Legon Hospital and you can cross-check it. And it's a matter that we need to understand that even when the father tried to even gain access, even though he has some of the scans, but the pre-delivery scan that was done before they went into the CS immediately vanished from the folder. He couldn't find it again. I'm telling you, this has happened almost about 3 weeks ago, and nothing is happening about it. Happened. In fact, even I'm not sure if the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service is aware of this happening. This particular issue, social welfare wasn't involved. Now, when you come to the component of social welfare and the role that they are supposed to play, there's a big problem over there. First of all, the professionalization of professional social workers in this country is a challenge. These officers that are being called social workers, they do not have any framework. That would say that before you become a social worker, these are the kind of trainings that you have to go through, and even haven't gone through. These are the licenses that you need to be registered as a social worker. There's nothing like that.
Are we serious about it?
I'm telling you, it is during the administration of His Excellency former President John Mahama that a team was put together with the support of USAID to establish a proper workforce, and the processes are ongoing. I don't know what has become of it now, but there were really efforts that were being put in place to ensure that this group of workers are properly professionalized. Everywhere in the world there is a code and there is a framework and there's a licensing regime for all social workers, and for you to call yourself a social worker, you need to go through these kind of processes to make sure that you are properly licensed. And they're supposed to be a council that will make sure that all social workers are operating within the framework of the laws of this country. But this thing doesn't exist. They just operate in a vacuum. And we are hoping that this thing will, again, during the tenure of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the adoption framework was properly put together, and now there's what we call a central adoption authority that has been established. That authority is struggling for funds. It is also UNICEF that is giving a lot of support to this adoption authority, and they are putting in frameworks. They are make sure that they are putting proper laws and management that will ensure that at least when you need to adopt a child, you go through proper processes and get this thing done. So I would like to call on the media stakeholders, civil society, the government, and all Ghanaians to be interested in this matter to ensure that we nip it in the bud. We just stop it once and for all. That human life is so valuable that we cannot allow it to be tolerated as it is.
Richard, so this lady goes to the social welfare, rightly so, to seek help after she was abandoned by her boyfriend. She's pregnant, and now the baby has been sold for 16,500 cheaply. What say you?
I think I'm extremely sad on this particular subject matter. I would like to say good morning to your amazing viewers and the leadership of the New Patriotic Party and the government, particularly His Excellency the President and Vice. I think I'm saddened because I know the sort of frustrations that our wives, our mothers, and the women largely go through in terms of from conception to delivery. The sort of difficulties that confronts them, the uneasiness and the dangers that they go through to arrive at that destination. For somebody to go through all these difficulties and people wanting to profit from that kind of challenge, that kind of difficulty and the blessing God has granted the person, I think these individuals ought to be punished with the highest kind of punishment available under the law. And I think that the Honorable Minister of Social Protection, Children and
Gender, Children and Social Protection,
Madam Otiko Afisa Jabba, I trust her and I know that she would follow this keenly to make sure that we see this to a fruitful conclusion. Because it hurts. It hurts. One thing is that, like my brother indicated, I think there are various protocols at the various hospitals that individuals are supposed to.
In this particular case, the child was taken to a children's home in Kumasi, and then they sold the child to a married couple.
You know, the story
So it says, according to the police spokesperson, the suspects allegedly took the newborn baby right after being delivered from a private maternity home where the woman gave birth and sent her to a hospital under the pretext of treating rashes on her body, and later returned with the news of her death. They indicated that the police investigations established that the two workers sent the baby girl to a children's home in Kumasi, from where she was later sold to a married couple at 16,500. Wow. So this is it. So
does appear that
took it from the hospital.
The protocols at the hospital was largely followed. Exactly. The baby was, I think, largely discharged. Right. Maybe in terms of her condition.
On trust that these were social workers who had authority to do that.
And for them to...
But no, there's a problem with the process of the discharge. Okay, you can...
Yeah, I understand. To be got the point is that, I mean, I think under the circumstances, it does appear that these people from social protection were there to serve as guardians to the lady who was delivered. But no matter the situation, I do believe that these individuals ought to be punished. We cannot let go of it and make it look like business as usual, because it does appear that around the country we have some of these stories coming up. Tomorrow you are hearing a child being dumped here. The next time around you're hearing a child being stolen here.
I remember the issue at the Kwame Confidential Teaching Hospital a few years back, where a mother couldn't find the baby and nobody spoke about it.
And you see, we see these things going on endlessly. Like my brother indicated, there are people who have been told time and again through scans and all that they are going to deliver twins, and they are told at the end of the day that they had only one.
Like doctors explaining now.
You are told that you lost one, and you are not giving the body to ascertain. That's nothing. And you are being given this information. But I think that we need to strengthen the protocols at the hospitals in terms of delivery, the point of delivery, discharge, what happens to the baby. All these things, we need to look at it and see how we can work around it very well, because things ought to be done in a professional way. The next thing is, we know that you can go through adoption if you think that you are not in the process of having one on your own. You can go through adoption. But the difficulty with Ghanaians and most people around the world has been that they don't want the world to know, society to know that they didn't give birth to this child. Right. They want to conceal that aspect. That is why they go to the extent of buying babies. Because you can go through the adoption formalities. Children are being dumped all over the place, and they go and grab them, and sometimes they are looking for people to come and adopt them. You go to these orphanages and all that, and they are looking for parents and responsible members of society to come there and adopt these kids. People are not going because they don't want to create the impression that these kids are not a child that they gave birth to on their own. So they want to conceal that aspect. And that is why they want to go through this length of wanting to either falsify documentation or even to the point of stealing. And these are issues that we need to look at very. But the point is that around particularly in Africa, we have stars coming from the US and other countries coming in to adopt kids from Africa, coming to sometimes even in Ghana, coming to adopt. So if you're Ghanaian and you want to adopt a child, there are processes that you need to go through. Why won't you go through that process? And I'm saddened that there was even a woman who understands the pains that women go through before they deliver.
There's money involved, so maybe.
I mean, how much? So are you saying that you can sell a human being for 16,000? A human being. I mean, how cheap can you be? You go about trading human life for 16,000. I mean, how would this woman be happy if a case, or if she was sold in that regard when she was born? I mean, these are the things that I think that these individuals involved ought to be made to follow, to face the full rigors of the law. And I'm thinking that our brothers and our sisters, particularly from Bronga-Afo, because I come from Bronga-Afo, the north and other things, who come to Accra and other parts of the country to apply their trade and their delivery. I think we need to have a system where we can check them. And I think that is why the president desired to literally put together a ministry to check that the Zongo development arrangement
the funding has always been a problem. Later we'll have the Zongo development minister here. But funding. But Doc, I'm interested in the Legon issue you talked about.
Yeah.
So has a formal complaint been made to the police?
No, not yet. Not yet, because I spoke with the father, and the father, was saying that he was discussing with his lawyers, first of all, to get a proper legal advice as to how to process it. His first intention is to submit a petition, through his lawyer to the hospital and copy the ministry, the Ghana Health Service, and copy all appropriate bodies, and then an investigation would be conducted, full scale into the matter. So that's why. But another key thing, this thing is quite
briefly
seriously. There's this issue of surrogacy.
Right.
Okay. Right. And that's another big problem that lacks, legal framework in this country, and people just take advantage. As he was talking about our sisters, the Kai, and then the vulnerable in the country. Some, career women who do not want to go through the pain of labor and other related matters do contract them, and then they just get them impregnated and put them in a room, feed them. In some cases, there was a typical case where the career woman actually hired a surrogate mother and locked her in a room, feeding her, get her pregnant and everything throughout the 9 months. Whilst the lady was nursing the pregnancy, this woman was also putting in artificial, pregnancy stuff
to make believe that she's pregnant.
Exactly. So as the time went, the day the lady delivered, she also removed these things. And what happened? Then they tried to, default on the payment terms with the lady. The lady also then said that no, I mean, this is my child. I suffered with the child. So it became a big issue.
Big issue.
Okay. So the woman was claiming. So there was a small. It didn't come into the media, but it was a big issue. I'm bringing it up because it's becoming a big problem.
Okay.
And there's a need for policymakers.
It's sneaking in.
Exactly. It's happening, and people, there's no attention on it. So focus has to come on it to look at this matter holistically, and we can achieve that by paying attention to the social welfare issues, to paying attention to the professionalization of social workers in this country, and paying attention to basic legal frameworks that support our basic lives, rather than going high. Okay, there are basic things that we are leaving behind because we want to get publicity for things that we're doing. We are not interested in building the foundation. We always want to be talking about the high profile things that would attract the attention, like getting drones to deliver this and that within the girl helps, talking about big time
those
things.
Are equally important.
When
the basic things I've heard a story of how somebody contracted a surrogate mother, and they traveled outside. The woman was pregnant, so they were there throughout the gestation period. And then as soon as the baby was delivered, I think 1 or 2 later, she got back with the baby, and everybody thought she had had a baby.
And
there are no laws to support it. There's no framework
in trying to take the lives of the
surrogates. Anyway,
I mean, because they don't want any.
Let's move on. So Dr. Babakwesi Ndum is the National Committee chairman of the Progressive People's Party. Is calling on the government to make good its promise of electing MMDCs. remember it was a big issue in the 2016 election. We're told that the deadline will be 2018, and President actually promised and told these current batch of MMDCs that, look, you'll be the last batch. Nobody will be appointed anymore. Now we're being told by the Minister for Local Government, Aji Alima Mahama, that, well, we'll have to do that in 2021. Richard, why break your promise?
I don't think we've broken our promise necessarily.
Your promise was to do that in 2018, this year.
I
now
think
we're being told 2021.
If you allow
it's
me.
a break of promise.
If you allow me.
Amachi Dede says, why, darling, you break your promise?
I think it's not necessarily about we trying to not stick to our promise. I think we largely gotten stuck to the promises that we made to the good people of this country, and we are delivering them one at a time. I think there's one thing that we need to understand. For me, would applaud Dr. Indum and anybody for that matter, Ghanaian who would want to contribute to their views, who air their views on matters of national importance. It helps because we are doing a participatory democracy. So we need to encourage people to speak out and voice out, help the government in terms of suggesting ways of approaching certain matters. But there are things that we need to understand that ought to go through constitutional reviews and amendments. Some of them would require a referendum. For instance, this particular one and that of the creation of religions. You know that you can't necessarily, though you know that government has said that we want to do this, but because there's constitutional requirement that demands that you need to go to a region and conduct a referendum, let the people vote. You need to let all those processes go through. And also the amendment.
Article 243.
I know. I'm trying to.
But I'm saying that.
If you allow me, I'm trying to link everything together because obviously the promise.
Let's try and contextualize the issues. In the creation of the new districts, the process has actually started. The Consultative Assembly is ongoing at this point, and very soon we will have the referendum if all things work for good. Why has the process not started in the issue of the election of MMDCs?
That one has equally started. The point is that there have been a lot of stakeholder engagements across the country, consultations across the country, trying to see the fine lines and also processes to amend the constitution to reflect same. So until such a time that those things have been done, you cannot go ahead and say tomorrow you are organizing an elections in that regard. There ought to be constitutional amendment first. Because remember previously, as we have in our constitution, it requires the president to make an appointment, and same will be voted for by the assembly members. And if you want to change that system, you ought to amend the constitution.
Do we know if the proposal for amendment is ready?
In terms of, there are several processes that it ought to go through.
2016, 2017, a whole year.
I understand
I remember that at the beginning of this year, the president signed on to 5 different bills into law.
I understand you in terms of,
including that of the special prosecutor.
I understand the fact that Ghanaians are in a rush to see that happen, and I think it justifiably so.
It was a promise.
Of course, that's what I'm saying, that it helps. I like the idea that people would keep on reminding this government about the promises that they made to Ghanaians, and the fact that in terms of achieving and making sure that we make do with our promises, the president has kept faith with Ghanaians in good number of them, from the free education, from one district, one factory, which is also in process, one village, one dam, the nursing training allowance. All this, of course, you've heard about it. The processes are ongoing. 1st of May, President is launching the Nation Builders Corps that will guarantee over 100,000 Ghanaians jobs and all that. We are literally.
Do you sincerely believe that these excuses that we consistently get for this particular promise is justified?
I think we can't call them excuses. It's about letting Ghanaians know the status of the processes. Okay. So we've done A, B, C, D. We are still in the process. But looking at what is happening, we do believe that we'll be able to do so. Because the point is that, remember 2019, if you want to conduct the elections, today we are in 2018. We are not done with the processes. If you want to conduct the elections 2019, which is culminating largely into the election for 2020. It tells you that there will be a lot of things, budgetary concerns, and other difficulties.
On what strength did the president make that promise? at the inauguration or like investiture of this batch of MMDCs, he was specific, and we were there with our cameras.
See, he says that we are working towards.
No, the president says the promise will happen, and perhaps I need to quote the president.
I'll be grateful.
Yes, I'll quote the president. He says, where is it? Well, I can't find it now, but I'll find it and quote the president.
That's what I wanted to tell you, that the president told you that the process has kick-started, and in terms of making sure that we deliver on that particular promise, all the processes are ongoing. He has to go through constitutional amendments and all that.
Okay.
So until such a time that we are done with it, we cannot say we are electing the MMDCs.
So this is what the president had to say. He says the election would take place as promised, insisting that the people he was talking to will be the last batch. Okay, the president says the election would take place as promised. The promise was for 2018. That's what I'm asking.
The president promised that he will make sure that we do everything possible to elect our MMDCs. And he says that the current crop of MMDCs in power are going to be the last batch. Largely, they have a tenure of 4 years, you could say.
Finally,
so it is going to be the last batch. It means that the subsequent batch, the next batch, we are going to elect them. So I don't think that we've breached on any of the promises that we
promises were made because of the flaws that the president himself said he had identified in the local governance structure, and how an election of these MMDC will help to check them. For example, we're told in Gomoa how 81,000 cedis has been spent on funerals. If the DCE had been appointed, I doubt he would do such a thing, because he knows that his lifespan in power will be tied to accountability issues. So we are hurting ourselves by postponing this.
I'm not sure we've postponed it. And what is being done is to make sure that we finish all the legalities about this process. If those things are firmed up and we're able to at least have the law is amended to reflect the new intention of the president, that we ought to elect them. I think that is what Ghanaians expect. We can't just rush and say tomorrow we are electing MMDC. When it has to go through various processes, there ought to be stakeholder engagement. We need to educate the population about it, carry the people through, go through parliament for the process to be amended before the process is implemented. And I think that we need to allow this process to go through.
Stepping for this, so the tune has changed. There was a promise closer to the realization of the promised date. We're told it will be 2021, and now we're being told that, well, the processes have to be followed. Whereas in the issue of the creation of new regions, the process is kickstarted, getting to completion.
All of them have started.
You know, first of all, I can see that, you know, my colleague has had a lot of time trying to, you know, justify why this particular, you know, promise is not being fulfilled. And as we are aware, the general public is aware, everybody's aware. In fact, a survey that has been conducted by Center for Democratic Governance has established that, you know, this government is becoming so unpopular because of the failure of the government to deliver on key promises that it has made. Please, when you had your time, you spoke about the matter. I'm just hoping that he'll give me appropriate time to also
Richard,
So, for instance, you would have noticed that even recently the Minister of Information has alerted Ghanaians about the fact that the one district, one factory thing was more or less just a vision and not necessarily a promise. And if it was not, you know, being implemented, at least successive governments would do so. Okay, so we are well aware, at least the general public is aware from the survey that has been conducted, that there's no work being done on the one district, one factory, one village, one dam.
We're told there's work being done.
One village, one dam is another promise that was given to the people just at the spell of the moment on the platform. And, you know, arguments, the vice president indicated that it was, you know, because of the rainy season, that was why it was not being implemented. The dry season had come in and it's almost ending again. Rainy season is setting in again. As we speak now, the one village, one dam promise is still not being fulfilled. A lot of other promises. In fact,
Richard, allow him.
In fact, we had a promise that there was going to be Jamestown a harbor. We're going to have a harbor in the western region. We're going to have JNPC move its headquarters from where to where. We're going to cancel the ECG process.
They say they have
now,
4 years.
So
they have 2 more years to go.
Yes. Okay. All right. So you see that you see and notice and realize that this issue of MMDC's election is not just the promise that they are failing to deliver, and they are pushing it to even a date that is so ridiculous. They're taking us for granted. You win election from 2016 to 2020 for 4 years, and you don't know what's going to happen in 2020, and you are talking about promise in 2021.
Okay.
So what do you take us for? You think Ghanaians, we just don't have any sense to decipher in between the lines? Now, if you look at the issues of elections of MMDCs, the Constitutional Review Committee, the CRC, which was established by His Excellency, former President John Dramani Mahama, to look holistically at the problems that our Constitution had, some of which he referred to, about the need, about the need for reforms, about the need for reforms, about the need for amendments of key constitutional provisions that do, kind of bring some barriers to the implementation of policies. And the commission had concluded its work. It had done a fantastic work. It had gone around the whole nation. It had collated views. If you see the report of that commission, it's huge, and it dealt comprehensively with the district assembly election processes. It actually proposed a number of things that were going to be done. If the former President John Dramani had won the elections, but even from 2017, elections of MMDCs would have been ongoing. Now, please, you spoke a lot on this matter.
Hold on, Doc.
No, you spoke a lot on that matter.
Richard, hold on.
No, Richard, you spoke a lot on this matter. Now,
if that's the thinking,
yes,
then government is a continuum. The local government ministry is there.
No, so that is where the problem with this government has been. Okay, when you come and you think that governance is just a political party, when a political party takes over, everything that the previous government did should be put to the dustbin and start a new process. If the government were to just continue with what the commission had recommended, or even if they needed to make some changes to it, they could do so and proceed on that. By now would have been done. It wouldn't be something that would be deferred to a 2021 day. That we don't even know whether they will be in government then or not. Okay,
so the processes have begun.
No, nothing has begun. Like I said, I'm telling you that what has happened. Like you rightly pointed out to him. No, we are no.
Let's not spread it. Let's not spread
it. Richard. Oh, you spoke. No. You spoke. I checked your time.
He said that President Mahama instituted
control him. No, you please. I will not allow you. Please.
The report was made available.
You control him because we need order. Please, we need order. Please, don't.
You're out of order, and you know it. He kept quiet.
I'm just trying to make.
But he kept quiet while you were speaking. So I'm saying that to have his time.
I'm saying that if you look at the whole idea of the election of MMDCs is something that is giving power to the people, and like you pointed out to him, the division of this country was also a promise. Okay, yet it's something that is being done with alacrity. They are doing it all around. The processes are ongoing, and everybody is seeing the process going on. When they do stakeholder engagements, they announce, and people are aware that this particular process is ongoing. And even if they are not able to do it by the end of their tenure, there is some understanding that at least they have started it and they are doing it. They are going through the processes. With regards to this particular one, they have told us that it will not be done until 2021. So he doesn't even have the capacity or the locus, when the Minister for Local Government herself has told us clearly that this process would start in 2021, when we don't even know whether they will be back. Okay,
the election will happen
now.
2021.
Now, if you take your time and study what is happening at the
you will have to wrap up for me at this point.
At the local governance level, there is a lot of confusion that is going on. Okay, they started first with the Kapan Act, okay, which took away a lot of funding from the local assemblies, okay, which is suggesting that they do not believe properly in our local governance system. They pooled money from the local governance system onto the central government system for expenditure at the central government level. And in fact, when they pulled out this money through the capping bill, they still have failed to be able to implement the projects for which they took the monies from them. Then they are now also proposing some cuts, actually directing the assemblies as to how even the capped Assembly Common Fund resources should be spent. And they are earmarking...
But aren't the assemblies themselves getting a lot of IGF that they are misusing?
From where? I'm saying that the assemblies...
If an assembly could use 81,000 for a funeral, it gives you an indication that they are getting money from property rates.
I'm saying that
business operation permits.
The point is that there are few assemblies. There are few assemblies that has the capacity. Has the capacity to raise money. There are very few of them. A bulk of the assemblies do not have the capacity to raise money, and they rely largely on the District Assembly Common Fund and the District Development Fund to undertake their development projects. Now, having passed the Capping Act and taking monies from the district assemblies, they have also now issued directives asking them to use part of the District Assembly Common Fund for planting for food and also for this brigade thing. Even after they had inherited a facility from the Canadian government, which was negotiated and concluded by the previous administration for the purpose of modernizing our agriculture, they have used all the entire money, and yet that project is not being successful. At the same time, can I conclude on this, because it's a thought process. It's important. I'll briefly conclude on that. You see, I want to make some point.
In all of this conversation, I don't want it to take an NDC MPP posture.
Yes.
I want us to have a nationalistic conversation.
Yes, exactly.
Where we're looking at curing the inadequacies in our local government structure by this election.
I'm saying basically.
And so you find that, look, even if we elect an MMDC and we don't have the and everybody else working in tandem with the thing, we will come back to nothing.
Because of this particular global idea that you have espoused so properly, the erstwhile NDC administration put together this commission, the Constitutional Review Commission, to look at this matter in a non-partisan manner.
Right.
And it went around the whole country. It actually spoke to NPP people, it spoke to PNC people, it spoke to civil society. They organized open fora, and they received memoranda from the general public, from experts, to come together, to put together a report, a huge report, which has touched on key development issues, including our local governance system. And when they do that, having to use taxpayers' money and present a report to the president. In fact, a white paper was issued. A new government comes in and puts everything to naught.
Can you check when the white paper was issued?
And then now we are talking about
these things happen on the president.
And now we are talking about a national thing. Okay. So you see, that is where we have this major problem and challenge. We are saying that as a nation, we need to understand that irrespective of whatever political party that is governing us, we still are a nation, and we still need to handle our affairs as national as possible. We understand that parties do have some interest. However, you do not have to allow the partisan interest to override the national interest.
Right.
That would lead to some kind of damages to our nation, Ghana.
I agree.
I think that, a lot of our media, the civil society, I always make this call to everybody to come on board, to put pressure on the government to understand that this country is Ghana, and it's not NPP, and it's not NDC, and it's not PNC. And if you are elected to run the affairs of this country, you must do so realizing that there are more people who belong to other political parties than your political party that is in power. And you must be guided.
I thank you very much. Richard, you have the final thought, 30 seconds. Let's wrap up this one.
I think let's make some corrections on some of the submission from my brother. Number one, the Constitutional Review Committee was set up by President Mills, not President Mahmoud.
So you are fine, still in.
That's the first point. The second point was that they submitted their work over 5 years ago, and the government issued white paper on that. President Mahama had 4 years. What did he do with that report? Today they are asking that the new government, they had 4 years. They couldn't do anything with it. A new government comes in and starts to look, before even the government came into power, This was our promise. We said we are going to make sure that we do this. Okay. Remember, when it comes to issues that borders on the Constitution, you need to take the people through. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to do amendment. You need to fashion out the new the sessions, how you want it to the
people are represented by their parliamentarians in
no,
parliament.
But you need to carry the people along.
We have done a constitutional amendment in the issue of trying to vote in November as opposed to December.
What I'm saying, of course, all these things
was it taken around?
All this, of course, it was. It was a lengthy process, and I had the opportunity of going through a lot of processes as far as that particular amendment was concerned.
Don't use 242, 243 articles as an excuse.
What I'm saying
fulfill your promise.
What I'm saying is that government is bent on fulfilling its promises. That is why I sat here to tell you that the chunk of the promises that we made to Ghanaians, government has put, some of them are being realized, some of the government are putting processes to achieve them. We have 4-year mandates, and government will make sure that we go through all those processes.
Thank you.
And for this particular one, the process has started. The only thing that we are saying is that we think that the exact period that elections will be conducted will be 2021. Not to say that we are going to start the process 2021.
Thank you.
The processes will culminate into electing our DCs 2021.
Okay.
So let's look at it and appreciate.
Richard Asante is with the MPP, speaks on behalf. Dr. Maria Zakaria is also with the NDC. Doc, I thank you very much. I like your spotlessly
thank you.
Clean white shirt.
Thank you.
Grateful. Richard, I'll see you on the other side. You keep abandoning me, but it's okay. Watch out for that big conversation with the Minister for Zongos and Inner City Development, the Honorable Abubakar Siddiq. Boniface is going to be here in the studio. You don't want to miss that conversation after this break.
Welcome back. So we're delving straight into talking about tourism because we want to find out what Destination Legon Tourism Marketing Exhibition is all about. And they say the theme is Ghana Beyond Aid, enhancing the digital space for tourism growth. Speaking to this, I have Fafa Macaulay and Kwesi Che, who are both students of University of Ghana Business School. Good morning, gentlemen and lady.
Good morning.
So what is this whole project about? What is the program mainly aimed at achieving?
Okay, so I mean, notwithstanding the fact that it's part of our academics, it's actually the practical part of it. And I mean, it's basically aimed at harnessing the tourism aspect and I mean, how students, potential graduates going into, I mean, the job market, how they should, consider tourism and everything. So basically, but then this particular Destination Legon, we are taking into consideration certain technologies such as AR, VR, and AI, yes, to actually, spice it up a bit. So basically, that is what Destination Legon is about.
Right. So Fafa Kwesi talks about AI, AR, and they all sound like words to me. But what does that mean when you put it together to translate into giving us a better tourism, field?
So we're using these technologies to sell tourist sites across Ghana.
Wow.
So, for example, augmented reality, that's AR, is a form of technology that makes media come to life. For example, holograms. That's how it works. So you can use augmented reality to, say, create a tourist experience for somebody who's just watching, somebody at home. So the person can experience this tourist site in the comfort of their home, say on the table or something.
Nice.
The technology can bring out the tourist sites to them right there. So yes, we're using the technologies to create tourist experience for people digitally, basically.
Nice. So, I mean, looking at it, you've had to visit tourist sites, I assume. Yes. And when you look at it, do you think this can really bridge the gap where Ghanaians don't really patronize tourist sites, or it's just going to help the foreigners benefit?
Well, we are actually taking into consideration both foreigners and locals. Wow. And I think it actually rests on whichever group and their concept. So I would use my group as an example. My group is a Hidden Eden. And we are actually, the theme of the whole project is adventure and relaxation. So, I mean, we've realized that over the years, some of these tourist sites are being slept on. So we are kind of creating that awareness. We are putting it out there that there is more that these places can actually offer us. So we are bringing up new ways, exciting ways that would actually attract people to, revisit these tourist sites.
So, Christy, can you tell me a little about this program has a number of groups, but your particular group, what did you go through to get to where you are?
Well, I mean, it wasn't easy though, but then we are kind of revamping the whole, tourism. We actually took the eastern region actually, and I mean, you know, previously there are so many places. For example, Every Gardens and Booty Falls. I mean, literally every JHS or SHS student has actually they've actually been there. But we're realizing that, I mean, it has become the order of the day. So now we're actually kind of revamping the whole thing. I mean, bringing up a concept of, as I said earlier, adventure and relaxation, what you can actually do at these places to kind of bring people back to visit these places.
Okay,
again.
so Fafa, what for you was your project and what have you been able to do with it so far?
So my group is called Sun Up to Sundown. Okay. What we're doing is we've created a bucket list of things to do to get the complete Ghanaian experience. So we're saying you've come to Ghana. What exactly are you doing in Ghana to go back and say you tell your people that I came here and I felt the Ghanaian authentic experience. So we're covering the eastern region and western region. So from east to west, what are the things you do to get a full Ghanaian experience? So we covered Kwehu, the paragliding. We've covered Shai Hills, the animal reserve. We've covered resorts in western region, Blue Moon, Buzier Beach. Yeah, we are also covering food, basically everything that's authentically Ghanaian. Right. So presenting the entire experience to everybody.
I mean, it sounds very interesting, but I'm also looking at the other person who is not so technologically inclined. How do you bring these people on board to, you know, enjoy what you're creating?
Well, I think that, as Fafa has rightly said, the AI, the VR, and the AR, it's just an aspect of it. Okay. So we are considering the actual traditional media, like the video. So yeah, we have the normal video where the layperson could actually watch the video and actually get a whole concept of it. So that AR, AI, and VR is just an aspect of it that we're actually infusing into the whole project, making it a little bit more technological.
Nice.
Yes.
So when's the program taking place? Are we invited? Do we have to pay?
No, it's taking place tomorrow, 28th, at University of Ghana Business School, the Executive Square, at 9 a.m. tomorrow. It's open to the public, and there'll be a presentation. All the groups will come and present what they've done so far, using the technologies too, and then there'll be exhibition booths for every group to showcase basically what you've been working on for the past 2 months.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so your final words before we wrap up.
Well, we are very much excited about this year's Destination Legon, and I mean, we are entreating everyone out there. We are trying to harness tourism. We are bringing tourism back to life again, and I think we are the best people to do it. So we are entreating everyone. Just make it a point to actually come and witness this year's Destination Legon.
Very well. For finding one from you.
I just like to invite everybody to come and see what our young people are doing to change the space, the tourism space in Ghana, and the creative, innovative things we're coming up with. It's very exciting, really, when you see all the different groups and what they've done. So I just like everybody to come and see what's happening right now in the space.
Very well. So tomorrow we're all marching to Legon for Destination Legon Tourism Marketing Exhibition with the theme Ghana Beyond Aid, enhancing the digital space for tourism growth. I have been speaking to Kwesi Che and Fafa Macaulay of the University of Ghana Business School. We'll take a break at this point. We'll come back with more here on New Day. Stay with us.
Our Coco's obsession is with Michael Jackson this morning, but certainly he's the king of pop, and may he rest in peace. But later today at 4 p.m., on Connect FM in Takrady, 97.1, one of our sister stations here at Media General, there will be the big fat interview, Asemyi Deka, with the Professor Joshua Alabi. My own brother Henry Eliud Yankee will be hosting him 4 p.m. So if you're around the Western region someplace, tune in and catch that conversation. But now let's have a conversation with the Minister for Zongos and Inner City Development, the Honorable Abubakar Siddiq Boniface. Chief, Assalam.
Wa alaikum salam.
How you doing, sir?
Alhamdulillah.
It's been like 3-4 months apart since our last chat. What has changed? The last time you were here, we were talking about funding, setting up the office completely and all of that. What has changed? Anything new?
Certainly. Some projects are going on, so it means some cash has come in. So, so far, much has been done. We've been able to pass the law. The fund, and at the same time, we've been able to get funds from the Ministry of Finance. The first quarter is come. We are initiating 51 projects in 41 communities. And so it tells you that the ministry is gradually taking off.
So I want us to pick a blow-by-blow account. what's happening in the case of the Zongos? The last time I remember you were talking about giving NEMA a facelift.
Yeah.
What is the latest on that particular one?
Well, come Saturday, we are launching our Clean Zongo based on our sanitation model, because the ministry is mandated in 4 thematic areas.
Right.
Like I said previously, I said we have infrastructure and sanitation enhancement, social development, economic empowerment. We're talking of heritage preservation and cultural promotion, and security and crime control. Now, in the case of sanitation, I'm launching that beginning with NEMA, and this will happen on Saturday.
Right.
And I'm not doing it alone, because the ministry is supposed to collaborate with various ministries. Ministry of Sanitation, Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Environment, National Security, Ministry of Interior, and other stakeholders and service providers will be part of the exercise come Saturday.
Well, what is this particular thing supposed to cure? Because I had a recent documentary, Slums in the City, that's what we called it. The NEMA Gata project, we spoke about it the other time. You said, well, plans were far advanced. I have not seen any improvement there, and people continue to dump rubbish on the sides of the gutter. What are we supposed to be curing?
Yeah, first of all, don't misconstrue my role. That particular drain is beyond the budget of my ministry.
Right.
It's supposed
I'm
to
not
be
asking for you to use your funds.
Yes, no, let me get it straight and let me get the, because people misconstrue. Because on several occasions, people have gone on air to say that, look, that drain is there, you have not come to complete it, forgetting that that is not my role.
I know it is not
I
your
have
role.
to collaborate with other ministries and
Absolutely.
pull them. I have taken the Minister for Roads and Highways. Currently, the contractor that was on site is no longer there, and you should understand.
That's the Brazilian, the current
Yes, exactly. And those arms of the drain were supposed to be roots. You see, the plan indicated, showed that the arms of the drain should have been converted into roots. And it's still on the drawing board. I believe if they complete the whole project, we'll
Do we know when this completion date is due?
Unfortunately, sitting here, I cannot tell you because it is not under my domain.
Right.
It is under the domain of
what
the
have
Ministry
they been
of...
telling you, Honourable?
Well,
the collaboration.
First of all, it's so important. The ministry is doing, the minister in particular is doing every effort to get the funds, to get the contractor back to site.
Right.
It has to do with money, you know, and it's so important. So almost all the time when we meet, sometimes I'll call on him, and he's been so admissive, you know, and ever prepared to help.
So come Saturday when you launch the sanitation campaign, the boiler will still be there. What are we supposed to be curing?
Which boiler?
The boiler by the size of the NEMA.
We are not going to leave it there. We are going to clear it. If you join me on Saturday, you see that we are going to start from that side. Yes.
I'll be happy to. I'm a sanitation person.
I'll be happy to see you there.
Okay.
Because on Saturday by 6 a.m. we'll be there, and we are starting from that angle.
Okay.
Moving towards the gutter.
Right.
Towards Paloma.
I see.
Because we are bringing in heavy equipment.
Okay.
And people. We getting people out to help, and it's not only the gutter, but within the community itself.
I see.
And this is the beginning, because we want, starting with NEMA, we'll be moving to other zongos later, and then replicate it to other regions, and then we'll come with a date where every day of that such month, we zongos will come out and clean our community. It is an attitudinal change matter.
Attitudinal problem.
Yes.
I see.
And it's so important that we get them involved and then committed. It's not a matter of going to clean and then moving away, because that is why I'm calling for collaboration. And I have discussed that with the Ministry of Sanitation, Ministry of Local Government. At the end of the day, we have to call in volunteers, and the Ministry of Sanitation and Water should also come up. We'll be coming out, I hope, with sanitation guards, so that within the community.
Spoke about sanitation marshals.
Yes.
They are not yet at post?
Well, I'm not in charge.
Okay, but they're supposed to be working in tandem with you.
Yes, and that's what I'm telling you.
Do you know if they are at post?
We have some, but they are not enough.
Okay.
We had some. I remember somewhere in 2007, I inaugurated them, the first badge in Sunyani. and it was under the supervision of Ministry of Local
We'll talk some more about that, Alhaji. But let's cross over to the Ashanti region. My colleague Ibrahim Abubakar is standing by with some live feed from there. Ibrahim, take it over now.
The of the Zongo ministry. Now this ministry is supposed to bridge the development gap between Zongo communities and some major cities in the country. It's been 1 year down the line since the creation of the ministry, and we will be finding out from residents at Abuabo Zongo in the Ashanti region to find out from them whether after 1 year they've seen anything tangible with regards to development in their area. Good morning, boss.
Yeah, good morning, boss.
It's been 1 year down the line since the creation of the Zongo ministry. Has it met your expectation? Have you seen any development in your area?
Yeah, okay, it's not meeting our expectation, but we hope in the near future it could be meeting our expectation. But I heard that it is the Zongo fund that they are using to clear the waterways for us. We are hoping that this will, we have seen that this is not going to solve our problem, because it's been about 2 weeks since they started the work. But you can still see the sun is still coming into the water. So we are hoping that another bridge which will help us more could be built. So that's, and that, here in Zongo, to be frank with you, we are having problem with our education, and we hope that this Zongo fund could help us solve this problem, especially among the youth.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me also speak to another resident here and find out from you. Good morning.
Good morning.
You've been a resident of Zongo for decades, especially here in Abuabo. What has been some of your main challenges?
Our main challenges, they doesn't do nothing, because they told us Zongo Foundation is on, but we never see nothing. Always they say they will come and do this bridge. Always they are lying, they can't do nothing.
What are you expecting from the Ministry of Zongo Ministry?
We are expecting to do such a improvement work, we need many things here. We are expecting many things. We are expecting to do the bridge, to do the gutter, to do everything, but we won't see nothing.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me also engage another resident and find out from you. 1 year ke gan create Zongo ministry. Kuna nan me challenges kuma sosai me kuma kuka ga an yi so far?
To gaskiya na gadin naji tun da aka kafa wannan Zongo ministry nan, to ba mu dai ga ci gaban da aka muna nan ba. Shaida abin da muka gani an zo ana muna ga shi da batun kwashi kasa na gota, kuma mu da muke zama nan wurin zaman mu kenan an yi ruwa, kowane ruwa ka gani mu muna gani, dokan mutanen da ruwa ke yi da ababa duka mu muna gani. Shaida mu mun complain batun birijin nan, ta gane a fasa biriji a daga birijin sama, da wannan mu muna gani ya fi muna, don gashi nan an zo wurin 1 week an zo ana kwashe kasa, ko ba gane ba, amma kasa na kwashe still kasa na zuwa, domin saboda airport roundabout zuwa mu shi Zongo ba yi ba. Ce zabar kasan wurin nan ruwan nan ke zuwa da shi wanga wurin, zamu muna ga dan ba an fasa birijin ba, problem nan shi ne gwamnati ya ta bashi, yawa bashin gwamnati ne da mu ba mu so, yanda sannan da yara da ba su aiki yanda za a samu su aiki, ana yi don ga daidaita da yazo don muna gan dai wasu na da yawa ana shiga, wasu barayi da yawa sun bari, amma still dai muna neman a create wani abin da zai kawo Zongo ci gaba, wani tramo nan duka ya je kasa ya ba mu.
Okay, thank you very much. What he's saying is that it's been 1 year, but we've not seen enough development in their area, apart from the desilting of this bridge, which they highly commended, even though they want the government to bring this bridge down and reconstruct a new one. They are saying despite the desilting, they keep on experiencing flood in this area. And another point you also raised has to do with youth unemployment in the area. He says most of the youth here are unemployed, and most of them are now getting into drug abuse, such as the use of tramadol. So he's saying that if the government does its best to generate employment, then it will reduce crime in the area. So in general, all that they are saying is that they've not seen much from the ministry, and they are expecting that the ministry step up its effort in developing the Zongo communities. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3, Abu Abu.
And that's my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar out there in the Ashanti region, bringing us live reports there of what work the Ministry for Zongos and Inner City has been doing out there. 51 projects, 41 communities. Honorable, you got some good points there. Some criticized you. What's your initial impression?
Well, I like the way they have been so objective. Because if you don't get good critique, you will not be able to advance. First of all, I think we got there timely.
Right.
And for those people, like the reporting was being made, I think this report should have come about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Now, what happened was that the whole place is fully silted. Right from Palili, where the guy was standing and talking.
Okay.
Now, if you go to Kumasi right now, the contractors are at airport runabout, clearing. And you see, currently,
runabout roads themselves have problems.
Exactly.
Potholes.
Potholes. Apart from that, that is not my duty, but I have to call the attention of the Ministry of Roads and Highways.
Right.
Now, there's another big, all the drains, the main channel passes through Ababu. And most of the buildings along the drain are sinking.
Right.
Because it's soft soil there. And so, unfortunately, when they were constructing the drain, instead of going higher, they stopped at a certain level. I'm not surprised one of the interviewees was saying that they expect the bridge to be raised higher.
So the wall has to be elongated, if you will.
But I believe even without that, the most important thing is probably to increase the abutments.
Okay.
The walls should be raised a bit higher, so that the sand will not get the opportunity
to get into
the drain.
Okay, right.
Secondly, if the opportunity is there and we have enough funds, on the sides of the drains, you could do some pavement blocks, such that the sand cannot go and flow into the drain again. It's so important. And the first week that the people, the contractors, desilted the place, there was a heavy downpour.
Right.
Nobody experienced flooding in that area again, because you see, sometimes, most of the times when it rains in this country, we easily experience flood.
Right.
And it's nothing. It's about siltation. There's so much sand in the drains. Like if you take
the Odo River.
Odo River right now, right from Circle, going towards the Odo, you realize that it's silted.
Actually.
Exactly. It's silted. So with a little downpour, then it flows its bank, and you believe that there's so much flooding. No, there's siltation. So little drop of water will bring it to the top.
So,
and it happens in our water
So we know
bodies.
this. We have the ideas. Do we have the money to do it? Do we have the money to cure the situation?
We don't have the money right now, but I think the government, of which I'm part, will have to be bold, because there are certain initiatives you got to be bold and arrest the matter once and for all. But if you want to do it in pieces, you never achieve your
You
aim.
met the president in his assessment of his ministers. What did he say to you?
Oh, that is between me and the president.
Was he happy about your work?
Well, I believe at the end of the day, the judgment lies before the president, but I believe the president has so much confidence in me. That is why he placed me in this ministry. But
was he happy about your work, that you have ideas, you have plans, there was no money? Was he excited?
This is what I'm saying. It's between the president has so much confidence in me.
But you're serving the people.
Yes.
Would you want the people to hear a bit of
No, the people, because whatever I had discussed with the president, I had sworn an oath. I swore an oath of an allegiance and an oath of secrecy. Right. So whatever discussions that goes between the president and I should not be told to the public.
But
if you are told by the president, then you can tell the public.
You're for me, some of the
that's what I'm implementing. This is what they should see.
Right.
That this is what president wants me to do, and I'm doing it. But the second thing, the president is ready to support me by instructing the Minister for Finance to do well to support me with funds.
Let's talk about education in the Zongos.
Yeah.
It's a critical matter.
Yes.
So I grew up closer to a Zongo myself, the Sabo Zongo.
Yes.
So I know Geskia and Sabugina and all those places. I know that there's a lot of makaranta, you know, which happens over the weekends.
Yeah.
And then there's regular school. I know children who don't go to regular school, but they end up in a makaranta over the weekend.
Yeah.
Is that a thing you support?
I did same when I was a kid. I went to school, went to makaranta. Sometimes we go after school in the night, we go to makaranta.
I'm talking about those who don't go to regular school, but they find time to go to makaranta during the weekend.
It started, you know, it's something that has been with the Zongo community, with the Muslim community. But with time, Ghana is a secular country. With time, people are realizing the importance of education. Education does not necessarily mean English. You could do it in Arabic. But once it is understood, you know, it's the mindset. Now, but the most important thing is that it helps when you go to the secular education. And so going to makaranta alone for me is not enough. You need to go to the English school and also have both. You know, and this is the experience I am gaining or you are seeing today. Like when they talk of Boko Haram, in Hausa means anything that is English or written is haram.
Boko Haram.
Yes, Boko means anything English is haram. You see how it is? So in actual fact, I believe that all these things came emerged out of poverty. Because in Nigeria, we know it's a very populous, about 150 million people. And majority, let's say, about 70% are Muslims. But that does not mean that anything that happens by the government is haram. No. Because the government, through the Boko, was able to construct roads. It's able to take oil from one side to the other end. You see how it is? It's built a lot of universities. It used to be about how many? 36 states. Now it's gone beyond that. So all these things is because they have sat down, they are lettered, and they've seen the importance of education.
How do we alleviate poverty in our case? Because poverty is rife in the Zongos. I wish we could play a bit of the Slums in the City documentary for Honorable to catch a glimpse of what it is out there. It is so real. What's the plan?
The plan is that, first of all, let's give credit to the president. Why do I say so? Because all governments before independence, through independence, to the emergence of His Excellency the President Akufo-Addo, all have cheated the Zongo communities. They have always seen Zongo communities as a transit point because of the name Zango. You see how it is?
That's the definition.
That's the definition of Zango, because our forefathers, our great-grandfathers who came in the initial stages had no intention to stay. You see how it is? It was like they were traders and also propagators of Islam. So in coming to sell their wares or after trading, they stay a while, take their monies, and they go. At the same time, that's why they were at the outskirts of town. Today, every Zongo is in the heart, in the central heart of town.
That's true.
Because if you take places like Adabraka, Makola, Makola, you are a guy, you can tell best.
Makola.
Me, Makola, I'm going to fetch fire. They were butchers. And that was where they used to, how do you call it, burn or roast the head. Yes. You see how it is. And so at the end of the day, the Ghana woman will say, me, Makola, I'm going to fetch fire.
Makola.
You see how it is. Today, that is how come Makola is there. Tudu is a hilltop. And Tudu, Adabraka gave birth to Nima. Nima gave birth to Ruga. These were people who were rearing cattle. So if you go to Ruga right now, you find that people rear sheep, goats, and cows.
Even at Nima.
And Nima gave birth to Medina. Most of this, all I've always said, trace their roots to Salaga. The umbilical cord of all Zongos in Ghana is Salaga. But the emergence of the Zongos were three. You have Gambaga, you have Yagaba Kubori and Salaga. But the stars of Gambaga and Yagaba Kubori dimmed, and that of Salaga shot up. And the only Zongo in Ghana today that Salaga never gave birth to and will never give birth to is Karachi.
Wow.
Yes, because Karachi and Salaga are twin towns because of two eminent sheikhs. That's for Salaga we have Malang Alasan, and for Karachi we have Malang Mo.
So the history is beautiful.
In looking at it, the president realized if you trace the root, the genesis and the history of Zongus, you come to see that it's become more or less an area for poverty, disease, illiteracy, and unemployment. But you see, if we leave it that way, it's going to build emotions.
What's your plan?
Yeah, I'm coming to that point, why the president has created that ministry. So in other, you see, emotions, when they build to a certain point and get to the limit, they will explode. And when it explodes, it becomes dangerous for the community. And that is exactly what has happened in Nigeria. Boko Haram is not a religious matter. I'm telling you today. Boko Haram was in existence in 1903. Then came a man who saw their vulnerability called Metasine. He used them, and when he died, politicians took advantage. And so, you see, when you take advantage and use them, they know what you are getting. If they don't get jobs, they'll fight back.
Right.
And so they realize that, oh, one will also come together and form our team. One day we can also come. So they were hiding under the cover of religion. And you see the passion that people have for religion. So people began gradually following their steps. Others bought in immediately, but only to realize that it was dangerous and disastrous and had to pull out. But today, as we speak, it is not easy.
So what is the plan? You have not told me.
Yes, I'm coming.
We've gone on for 6 minutes. We don't have a lot of time.
No problem.
So, sorry about that,
it's
sir.
better for me to put down the real foundation before we take off. You know, and so president, in examining all these things and seeing the danger, says, look, all Zongus in this country have been relegated to the background. And the Zongus, our great-grandfathers, played a very critical role in seeking independence for this country.
That's not in doubt.
Exactly. So there's the need to pay dividend to the Zongo community. And don't forget, the most important thing is that Ghana is moved from a low-income economy to a low-middle-income economy. But if somebody steps foot on the soils of Ghana today in Accra, and you send him to Nima, you send him to Sabo Zongo, you send him to Shukura, he will ask you whether he's part of Ghana. So development must be fully integrated. And so in that instance, I ask you today, you grew up at close to Sabon Zongo. Is that not it?
Right.
Take the case of Nima. You were talking about education. Do you know that the whole of Nima is, I call it ECOWAS town. There's no SHS in the whole of Nima. Look at the population there. But Nima has no SHS. Why? Ask yourself, why? So then we ask ourselves, we want them educated. Why don't you give them SHS? It's so important.
Someone would argue they could share with Accra girls and St. Thomas
Accra girls.
St. Thomas
You said Accra girls.
And St. Thomas Aquinas.
Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest. Accra girls, how many girls from Nima will be admitted in Accra girls?
If they qualify, they will be.
That's what you are saying. Let me tell you, there's somebody who might get 5 Ds. And somebody will get 7 A's. But the one with 5 D's in Nima will be far, far better than the fellow who got 7 A's from an elite, seemingly elite community. But it's a matter of giving that fellow the opportunity. But it is not there.
We will roll a bit of the slums in the city as we have the conversation, so you can get to catch a glimpse. But so in the matter of alleviation of poverty, I'm very interested in.
I'll give you
the announcement of your ministry and your ministership. A lot of people thought that, well, whatever money will come to you will be for them. Then you came out to tell them the money is not for funerals and outdoorings and all of that. So that's clear. But the last time I checked from some of the Zongos, they were talking about how they can be helped to rise above poverty.
Good.
What is the specific plan? So from now to maybe December, maybe the end of your tenure as minister, what are we to see? What are you promising?
Yeah. First of all, I have dealt with these programs you're talking about. Now, it is so important that the fact that we've been given a ministry for Zongo, we have our mandate. What you're talking about falls under what we call economic empowerment.
Right.
It's one of the mandates.
One of the themes.
The themes, thematic areas where we want to focus. As I speak to you now, we are coming out, we are rolling out a program. In May, we are launching it, where we've even written letters to the municipal assemblies, district assemblies, to bring in with MPs, to bring in some names from the community. So if you ask the assemblies...
So that's Nima Mamobi, the bridge there, and it's become a walkway.
Yeah.
That's Maestro there showing us the extent to which the filth is taking over the place. But Honorable, your manifesto talked about supporting local enterprises within the
This is what we want to do. You see, the fact that you said it doesn't mean that you take off. If you don't build a foundation, how do you take off? So what we want to do in the initial stages, we are carrying out a pilot program of the economic empowerment. We are mixing them, women and men, and we are connecting them to a bank that will be supporting with some funds. At the same time, we want to help you based on your background, the kind of business, or if you don't have a business, what you think you can do. We can help you build a business plan.
There's a fear, growing concern that these monies may end up with party faithfuls and people who are sympathetic towards the MPP, as we have seen in the past, not with MPP, but
well, in the past
with some political.
But let me tell you that I ruled out the youth employment, and in ruling out the youth employment, my colleagues in Parliament who attest to this fact, both MPP and DC. I don't engage people based on their political affiliations. I engage you based on your potential.
Right.
And in getting people employed or engaged, I make sure that you were taken to a particular place based on your background.
Right.
If you did accounting or finance, I make sure you were taken to a place like Controller and Accountant General's Department, Audit, IRS.
Related fields.
Related fields, that's internship. So that by the time you finish your 2-year attachment, you have gained experience. And so when there's any advert looking for people with experience, it begins from 3 years to 5 years. You've done your national service. You've done 2 years attachment. You have 3 years experience. You are qualified. Most of them today are in higher positions. Sometimes you'll be walking and somebody will meet you, say hi, do you know me? No. You helped me to get to this position.
Wow.
You should be proud and happy about that.
Absolutely.
That day I sleep very well. So these are some of the things that we intend doing.
Okay.
We intend, because we want to create some incubators, get people well trained, get masterships, and then we get the apprentices, and then we get them trained by
One
these
district,
masters.
one factory is a flagship program of this government. The folks in the Zongo say, look, if it comes, it will help us. We will be happy to work in it.
Sure.
What is the plan for the Zongos? For example, Nima Mamobi, Madina Zongo.
Good.
Are we thinking about the factories to put up there?
Yes. Currently, let me give you, for example, in Madina, I've identified about 4 particular companies that should be supported. I have one that is into abattoir, Jifanko. I have another person around Oyarifa who is into block tile factory. We have another person groups of persons, because they are in Damfa and they are into kente weaving. These people have recommended them for support. So you see, when
what about Asawasi Zongo?
Asawasi, for example,
they say they are the headquarters.
But they have this hide factory there. And I think It's one of the projects I want government to look at carefully, because in treating those hides, it is good for shoes and belts and yes, leather wear is so important. So it is a particular area. We call it Majima. In Hausa. Majima. That's I grew up in that area. You see, so it is so important that in Zungu communities, if we have such outstanding factories in those areas, it will help. But it does not necessarily mean citing it there.
In the community. Honorable,
it's so important.
So you will have, by the close of 2020, executed your job if you are not swapped. I hope you don't get swapped, because I think you're doing a fine job.
Thank you.
What promise are you making that by 2020, what can we measure you by? Just one promise that you want to make to us and the people of Ghana.
I want to have made sure that by the end of 2020, I will have impacted in the lives of the people in the Zungu communities. Be it schools, be it libraries, clinics. I met some group of people. I was giving them a talk, and I told them that look, if you did a proper analysis, the rate of death amongst Muslim women in the Zungu communities is higher than the Christian women.
Wow.
Yes, the reason being that per the religion, the women find it difficult to check themselves in the general hospital to be examined by a man.
Right.
But if you have clinics around the Zungu communities and you have a lot of female nurses,
doctors,
they will feel comfortable going to check themselves in to be examined. If it is beyond the levels of the nurses, they've already examined, they will send the what do you call the examination to the male doctor to do the necessary prescriptions. But you see, unfortunately, because we don't have sightings around, you check, they rely mostly on self-medication.
And that's dangerous.
And that's dangerous. So I believe that is one of the areas I need to put much emphasis and also encourage a lot of the young girls within the communities to go read nursing. We'll support them. That is the essence of the Zungu Development Fund, to support education. So part of it will be used to support the younger ones in their education.
Right.
As I speak, 2 days ago, there was a young boy, a Zungu boy, who for the past 5 years, he got 5 A's, 3 B's. And for 5 years, he's been sitting home.
Why?
Parents can't help. And he has nobody to help him. So somebody just told him, you manage and go and see the minister. When I saw I asked him what he wanted. He said, oh, he came to see me. He's finished this school for the past 5 years. Nobody's there to help him. I said, how? With this resource? Instantly, I gave him money. Said he should go and buy forms. Legon and Tech. We'll make sure that whatever we can do to get him admitted. Because you can't have this resource. By now, there may be somebody who got D's. This man with A's is sitting home. The man with D's has a good family. He's in the university.
I share the story of Kwesi Haywood, a very fantastic artist.
Yes.
He walked up to me here. Good grades. There's no money at home. So maybe you should consider Kwesi Haywood as well. But
no problem.
Finally, as we wrap up, Honorable, there was a talk about building hostels at Nima. What's the latest on that?
Well, that one, let me be honest with you, is a long-term project. You don't just mention and start building, because you need to negotiate with the people, secure land somewhere, have arrangement with them, because you are going to stand in between, more or less as a mediator. The landowner is here, the investor is here. You going to guarantee. And when that exercise is done, and done well, then they vacate the place. Now, a whole plot of land, let's say 1 acre being occupied by 200 people, will now be occupied by over 1,000, because the family is going to build.
At what stage are we now?
Well, we are seriously high in the discussions with various investors who have been coming to us. We've had some Chinese investors who have come, but we want to get the landlords, have a meeting with them before we take it up to another level. Because you must make sure that every landlord in that area agrees. Let's say if I get about 10 landlords within one particular area who agree, then we can have the investor will have a proper discussion. If you come to a better conclusion, then you have the agreement signed.
Okay,
they
you can
pull
have
down,
a unit there.
Yes.
Okay.
Once the units begin to rise, people in other areas will also fall into that attraction.
Right.
You see, so it is so important that we do it and do it well.
I hear there's a certain sentimental value with the land at Nima, so people don't want to leave. Have you heard it too?
Well, yes, I know. But the point is that at the end of the day, let's say 30, 50 years, the land still belongs to you. So even if you are staying far away, you can always come and watch and see that your building is still...
Honorable, I thank you very much. Well, this is from Rabbi Odami Ansan. He's the boss at Marriage Clinic. He says, "Hi, Johnny. What he's saying is true. He does not engage people based on political affiliation. Currently, he has done it. Someone who is known very well to be on the other side, but has been engaged by Honorable Siddiq. So that's a feather in your cap. Congratulations.
Thank you,
and keep it up, Honorable.
Thank you.
I thank you very much, and I wish you well.
Thank you. So always support me.
Absolutely.
I'll be going on inspection, so you come.
No, I will come. I will come with you.
Yeah.
I will wear my boots.
Good.
Do you wear boots when you go out?
Yes.
Because I wear Wellington boots.
I do so.
And so we'll go out.
Oh, good.
I stepped actually into the Nima Gata, the lowest
I'll
point.
be stepping in on Saturday.
Yes, so we'll do
be
it
there
together. Yeah, and we'll eat towards our
I
food.
call all members, people from Nima should voluntarily come out. This is for their health.
Right.
And you see, we're talking about poverty. Indirectly, you are going to reduce poverty by cleaning the area. Because once you clear the area of filth, you are reducing the presence of mosquitoes.
Right.
So the money you use to buy malaria drugs will be used for something better.
I agree. And on that note, we'll take a break here. We'll return to wrap up the show here on New Day. Stay with us. We'll be right back. In Demana, out there in the northern region, the Lion King. Good morning to you. And also, so this is what Tilapia had to share with us. Says tramadol, street sex. So there's a drugstore there. There's one more. It says, the pharmacy says, should I give you one more? And somebody said, I can feel my body. Tramol, 12 rounds spare you tire. I had past Bob Marley and the Wailers combined. So those are the effects of tramadol, and I hope that we get to fix it. But yesterday I told you that we're going to do a proper throwback of the Achiami group. So this was what the Achiami Mesanaba, this was what they looked like back in the day. And fast forward, this is Achiami Kofi, who was on the other side. Okay, that's Achiami Kwame and Achiami Kofi there. And also, check it out. And this is Ochame Kwame, the rap doctor with a half bowl. Yes, and here you go. So, throwback then and now. Who's going to be next on our show? We don't know, but obviously we'll find out sometime soon. My name is Johnny Hughes. Thank you very much on behalf of the rest of the team. We'll see you tomorrow, Friday. We'll wrap up nice and easy. Be good and enjoy.